You stare at your to-do list and feel nothing. Tasks that used to excite you now feel like mountains you have to climb with weights on your ankles. You know you should be working on that project, applying for that job, starting that creative endeavor, but your brain feels wrapped in cotton. You can scroll through social media for hours, but you can't focus on reading one chapter of a book. You can binge watch an entire series, but you can't sit through a 20-minute online course that could actually improve your life. You tell yourself you're lazy, undisciplined. Maybe you've just lost your edge. Maybe you never had what it takes in the first place. You've tried productivity hacks, morning routines, motivational videos, but that flat, empty feeling keeps creeping back. It's like someone turned down the volume on life itself. Here's what nobody's telling you. This isn't about willpower or character or having the right mindset. What you're experiencing is what neuroscientists call a dopamine deficit. Your brain's reward and motivation system is running on empty. And no amount of self-discipline can fix a neurochemical problem. But here's the twist that changes everything. Your dopamine system isn't broken. It's just been hijacked by a modern world that delivers constant micro-hits of stimulation without any real satisfaction. Your brain has learned to expect immediate rewards for minimal effort. And now it's gone on strike when faced with activities that require patience, focus, and delayed gratification. The good news? Once you understand how your dopamine system actually works and how modern life has disrupted it too, can systematically restore your natural drive and motivation. You're not unmotivated. Your motivation system just needs a reset. Meet your dopamine system, the neurochemical network that drives every goal you've ever pursued, every habit you've ever formed, and every moment of satisfaction you've ever felt. But here's what most people get wrong about dopamine. It's not the pleasure chemical. It's the pursuit chemical. Dopamine doesn't make you feel good when you get something. It makes you want to get something in the first place. Your dopamine system works like a sophisticated prediction engine. It's constantly asking, is this worth my energy? When your brain expects a reward, whether that's food, social connection, accomplishment, or even just novelty, it releases dopamine to motivate you to pursue that reward. The anticipation of getting something good is what drives you to take action. Here's the crucial part. Your dopamine system is calibrated by contrast. It doesn't respond to absolute levels of reward. It responds to the difference between what you expect and what you get. If you expect a 5 and get a 7, dopamine spikes and you feel motivated. If you expect a 10 and get a 7, dopamine drops and you feel disappointed, even though 7 is objectively good. Imagine your dopamine system as a bank account. Every time you get a quick hit of notification, a scroll through social media, a snack, a short video, you're making a small withdrawal. Each withdrawal seems harmless, but they add up. Meanwhile, activities that would normally make deposits deep work, meaningful conversations, physical challenges, creative projects, start feeling impossibly difficult because your account is overdrawn. This is what neuroscientists call dopamine dysregulation. Your brain becomes tolerant to low-level stimulation, requiring more and more input to feel normal. It's like turning up the volume on everything until quiet becomes uncomfortable and silence becomes unbearable. Modern technology has essentially hacked your dopamine system. Social media platforms, video games, streaming services, even news apps are designed by teams of neuroscientists and behavioral economists to deliver variable reward schedules, the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. You get just enough positive feedback to keep you engaged, but never enough to feel truly satisfied. The result is what researchers call anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure from activities that used to bring joy. Your dopamine receptors become desensitized, requiring increasingly intense stimulation to achieve the same level of motivation. Meanwhile, activities that require sustained effort like reading, learning, creating, or building relationships can't compete with the immediate gratification of your pocket-sized dopamine delivery device. But here's where it gets even more complex. When your dopamine system is depleted, it doesn't just affect motivation, it impacts your ability to focus, your emotional regulation, your sleep patterns, and even your sense of time passing. Low dopamine creates a cascade effect throughout your nervous system, making everything feel harder than it should be. The cruel irony is that the more depleted your dopamine becomes, the more you crave quick fixes and the less satisfied you feel when you get them. You're stuck in a cycle where the thing that temporarily relieves the problem is also the thing that's causing it. Here's the reframe that will change everything. Your lack of motivation isn't a personal failing. It's your brain's rational response to an environment that promises reward, but delivers only stimulation. Your dopamine system evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to help you survive and thrive in environments where effort reliably led to meaningful outcomes. Hunt successfully, get food, build relationships, get safety and connection. Create tools, get increased survival odds. Your brain learned to save up dopamine for activities that had real consequences and real rewards. But modern life has broken this ancient contract. You can spend 3 hours watching other people's highlight reels on social media and get dozens of tiny dopamine hits, but zero actual progress toward your goals. You can consume endless entertainment but create nothing. You can stay constantly busy but never feel fulfilled. Your brain is being rewarded for activities that don't improve your life, while the activities that would actually make you happier require more effort than your depleted system can muster. Let me tell you about Alex, 26-year-old software developer who couldn't understand why he felt unmotivated despite loving his field. He'd spend his evenings scrolling through coding tutorials on YouTube, feeling like he was being productive, but never actually building anything. His brain was getting dopamine hits from the feeling of learning without the effort of doing. When he tried to work on personal projects, they felt impossibly difficult compared to the effortless consumption of educational content. Or consider Maya, an artist who used to spend hours lost in creative flow, but now could unfinish a single piece. She realized her brain had become addicted to the immediate feedback of posting work-in-progress shots on Instagram. The dopamine hit from likes and comments was easier to access than the delayed satisfaction of completing something meaningful. Her creative process had been hijacked by her need for constant validation. This isn't about demonizing technology or advocating for some impossible return to a simpler time. Technology can be incredibly valuable. The problem isn't the way these tools have been designed to capture and monetize your attention by exploiting your brain's reward systems. Your brain hasn't become lazy or broken. It's responding logically to an environment where low-effort activities provide immediate neurochemical rewards, while high-effort activities require you to delay gratification in a world that's trained you to expect instant results. The mainstream narrative tells you that motivation is about discipline and willpower. You just need to try harder or want it more. But neuroscience reveals something different. Motivation is about having a dopamine system that is calibrated to find effort rewarding rather than punishing. This is why traditional productivity advice often fails. You can't discipline your way out of a neurochemical problem. You can't force motivation when your reward system is fundamentally dysregulated. But you can restore your dopamine system's natural sensitivity and recalibrate it to find satisfaction in meaningful activities. Again. Now let's talk about how to systematically restore your dopamine system and reignite your natural drive. These aren't willpower hacks. They're neuroscience-based approaches that work with your brain's natural mechanisms. 1. The dopamine fast once a week. Significantly reduce your easiest dopamine sources for 24 hours. This doesn't mean sitting in a dark room doing nothing. It means eliminating the activities that give you reward without effort. Social media, streaming entertainment, snacking, background music, or whatever your personal quick-hit dopamine sources are. Why this works? When you reduce stimulation, your dopamine receptors become more sensitive. It's like turning down the volume on everything else, so you can hear the quiet voice of intrinsic motivation again. After a day of lower stimulation, previously boring activities start feeling more engaging. During your dopamine fast, engage in activities that require slight effort but feel manageable. Reading, walking, organizing, cooking, having face-to-face conversations. Notice how different these activities feel when they're not competing with hyper-stimulating alternatives. 2. Effort-reward recalibration. Your brain needs to relearn that effort can be its own reward. Create what I call micro-challenge loops, small, completable tasks that require just enough effort to feel like achievements. Start with challenges that are difficult enough to require focus, but easy enough to guarantee success. Do 10 push-ups. Write 1 paragraph, organize 1 drawer, call 1 friend. The key is to consciously acknowledge the completion. Pause for 10 to 15 seconds after finishing and genuinely appreciate what you just accomplished. This rewires the neural connection between effort and satisfaction. Each successful micro-challenge teaches your brain that doing hard things feels good, gradually increasing your tolerance for sustained effort. 3. The anticipation building practice, since dopamine is released in anticipation of reward. You can hack this by deliberately building anticipation for meaningful activities. Instead of diving straight into work, spend 2 to 3 minutes mentally preparing and getting excited about what you're about to do. Visualize yourself engaged in the activity. Imagine how you'll feel when you make progress. Connect the task to your larger goals and values. This preloads your dopamine system, making it easier to start and sustain effort. For example, before writing, spend a moment imagining the satisfaction of expressing your ideas clearly. Before exercising, visualize how strong and energized you'll feel afterward. Before learning something new, anticipate the joy of understanding a concept that currently confuses you. 4. Environmental dopamine design. Make your desired behaviors easier and your undesired behaviors harder. This isn't about willpower. It's about designing your environment to support your dopamine system's natural tendencies. For activities you want to do more of, reduce friction. Keep books visible, lay out workout clothes, have healthy snacks prepared, put creative tools in easy reach. For activities you want to do less of, add friction. Put your phone in another room, log out of social media apps, remove junk food from easy access. Small changes in friction can create big changes in behavior because they work with your brain's natural tendency to choose the path of least resistance. 5. The novelty injection method, when motivation feels impossible. Curiosity can be the bridge back. Novelty naturally stimulates dopamine, so you can use this to your advantage by finding new angles on familiar activities. Instead of "I have to exercise," try "I wonder what it would feel like to work out to completely different music." Instead of "I should work on this project," try "I'm curious what would happen if I approached this problem from a completely different angle." Curiosity requires less commitment than motivation, but often leads to the same actions. Once you start following your curiosity, motivation often follows naturally. What to expect? These changes typically happen in phases. First, you'll notice that you feel less constantly restless. Then, activities that used to feel overwhelming will start feeling manageable. Finally, you'll find yourself naturally drawn to more challenging and rewarding pursuits. Remember, you're not trying to eliminate all sources of easy pleasure. You're recalibrating your system so that effort-based activities can compete with effort-free ones. You are not lazy. You are not unmotivated. You are not fundamentally lacking in drive or ambition. Your dopamine system, the neurochemical network responsible for motivation, focus, and satisfaction, has simply been overwhelmed by an environment that delivers constant stimulation without meaningful reward. The beautiful truth about your brain is its incredible adaptability. The same neuroplasticity that allowed your dopamine system to become dysregulated can help it become recalibrated. Every time you choose delayed gratification over instant pleasure, every time you complete a challenging task instead of reaching for easy stimulation, every time you build anticipation for meaningful activities, you're literally strengthening the neural pathways that make effort feel rewarding. This isn't about becoming some hyper-productive machine or eliminating all sources of simple pleasure from your life. It's about restoring your brain's natural ability to find satisfaction in the activities that actually improve your life: creating, learning, connecting, building, growing. Your motivation hasn't disappeared. It's been temporarily overwhelmed by competing neurochemical signals. But it's still there, waiting to be uncovered. The drive that got you interested in your goals in the first place, the curiosity that made you want to learn and grow, the ambition that made you envision a better version of yourself, all of that is still part of you. Now you have the tools to help it emerge again. What's one meaningful activity you used to love that you'd like to feel excited about again?